Welcome in to the wire, week 10. Week 9 is wrapping up today. I hope you're excited because I am. Not sure if I'm so excited about this game, but there is a lot of potential with, potential streamers, all the good stuff. But we really just have to wait and see. Mike, how's it going?
It's going well halfway through the season, huh? Like, kind of crazy that we're here already. I don't know. We wait so long for it. The NFL offseason so long, and then that grind of just like it's Monday game, and then 2 days. We're doing waivers, and then we're doing Thursday game, and it's just the cycle. And by the time you look up, it's the end of week 9, so it's bittersweet, but going well, going well. I need Marvin Harrison Jr. to do bad in this game. I'm playing him in like 3 or 4 matchups, and I'm like, all of them are like right around that, probably what he's projected for, that 12 to 14 point lead or something. So it's very, very nerve wracking there.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it. I was gutsy enough to play both Jaden Daniels and Sam Darnold last night, so that ended up doing just fine for me, and I'm pretty sure I won my matchup with that. So just depending on where you are and what you're dealing with, but going to tell you right now, next week you won't have any Chiefs, Bengals, Titans, or Cowboys. So I'm sorry, because this is a major fantasy week with the potential of not having a lot of players. So makes me a little more nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
Although one of those is not like the others, huh? The Titans sitting there, but
yeah, it's a lone standout, but they're showing something. Yeah. There's something there. But while we're talking about that, I'm going to move in to not just streamers, but also quarterbacks that we're looking at overall. And I told you last week, I'm going to continue to tell you guys, Sam Darnold, 32.7% rostered. You need to have him on your team. He's one of the best quarterbacks right now and have one of the best rest of season schedules. If you haven't picked him up, that's really on you, and I don't know what else to tell you. I've been telling you for a while now that you need to pick him up, play him. I get it. I get being worried, but we just saw what they did against one of the worst teams, and I'm not expecting that to really stop. So that's where I'm leaning. I guess I could also throw out, if you're risky and need somebody for tonight, Jacoby Brissett might be somebody that you're looking at stashing. Again, don't love it because next week they play the Seahawks, but moving forward, if that ends up being the true they're done, I'd much rather have him as a potential starter over Kyler because I expect him to feed his best players. So, Mike, do you like that suggestion? That'll work okay for you?
Yeah, I do. I was just thinking about Darnold, and like he has to be top 5 in MVP in the first half of the season. Drake May's up there, Mahomes. But Sam Darnold's right there, man. And I feel like this offense, this Kubiak offense, the Seahawks, like it's a play action offense, and they're not even really running the ball that well. Like if that gets going, that's only going to help Sam Darnold. Like, because teams are going to have to respect the run even more, and he's still lighting it up with, mostly just JSN, but he's awesome. He's back-to-back years, and it's good to see it. It's good to see Darnold kind of revive his career there. So definitely like that. Joe Flacco, he has to be on the list, right? Like the Bengals defense is just so bad. I mean, what they score yesterday, the Bengals almost 40 points or over 40 points or something, and they still lost. And it's just, Flacco is absolutely lighting it up. 18.8, 26, and 24.3 points the last 3 weeks, his 3 weeks in Cincinnati, basically, and 4 point per passing touchdown. I don't really see that changing. Of course, Joe Burrow could come back, maybe, but that's not for another month or so. So I'm not worried about that. I mean, Flacco is going to be, is he a top 10 quarterback? Like from, if we look at from his time when his Bengals time started onwards, is he going to be a top 10 quarterback? He might be. He legitimately might be, or even higher than that. He might even be like a top 7 guy. So, yeah, love the Joe Flacco pick up here, and he's still 32.8% only rostered in 32.8% of ESPN leagues. JJ McCarthy came back, and he was good for fantasy. It was good to see. There's a lot of speculation about what's going on there. Was it a soft benching, and is he just no good? Passing wise, he didn't. He only threw for 143 yards, but he threw for 2 touchdowns. He ran another one in. That's 2 rushing touchdowns in his 3 games that he started. So he gives you potential rushing floor here. So obviously he has good weapons with a good offensive coordinator. So he's probably going to be a bit more widely available than those first 2. Like a lot of people are going to go after Darnold and Flacco. Maybe you just take the easier route and get someone like a McCarthy or Marcus Mariota. He's also a guy that can run the ball. We saw kind of 3 games of him playing. Really, I believe it was 3 games this year with Jaden Daniels missing time, like 3 full games, and we saw 40 rushing yards, 34 and 28. He had 1 touchdown in those 3 games. So, he's going to be potentially starting the rest of the year with that kind of nasty injury to Jaden Daniels. So he's another guy to even go after if all those other guys are taken. So there's a lot of options for the quarterback position for sure.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it, but surprisingly, or maybe not, Marcus Mariota's numbers are almost identical to what Jaden Daniels has been doing. So it's been pretty impressive. I mean, even with the rushing, don't get me wrong. They brought it up last night that you can tell the difference when Daniels is out there running the offense as compared to Mariota, but is it that big that you're willing to not play him? I'm not so much sold on that. So, again, when I was looking at handcuffs, immediately when Jaden went down the first time, I went and picked him up, and I've been rolling with him as my backup. So I guess it's just going to be him instead for the foreseeable future. But again, these are all good options. I'm more iffy on McCarthy, just because I've seen it before, and it's a flash in the pan, and it makes me real nervous to see if he can't keep that up. But if he can, it will be quite an impressive turnaround for him.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's the quarterback position. It just seems to be with all the injuries and benchings and stuff. There's a lot of options if you need someone. So and very well might this week with Mahomes. Obviously Flacco's on the bye, so he's more of a long-term guy. And Dak, of course, on bye.
All right. Before moving to running back, Harry Killer's asking, needs 6 points to win in half PPR. Do they go with Bam Knight or Ferguson?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at too. The half is what makes it hard, because if it was full, I'd definitely be all over Ferguson. But the half, I still think I
think I might still go Ferguson.
Yeah, man, it's close. I think I agree. I'm probably going to go Ferguson. Also, the reports of Carter running with the ones makes me a little iffy on Bam. I still had him as a top 20 play this week, but just that news is enough to kind of scare me away from it a little bit.
And isn't Amari DiMercado back as well?
Correct.
And he wasn't there in their last game, or he was. I can't remember now.
I think they had him as a limited option.
Yeah, I'm looking at DiMercado. He didn't have any snaps the last Cardinals game, and that was, so Bam had 3 catches. So my concern is like Bam he gets maybe a catch, and then he's gonna, I don't know. It feels like he's kind of gonna have to get a touchdown to get there. I mean, maybe he can get, he can get 60 total yards, right? But I just feel like it's gonna be a bit more of a stretch. So I'm just, you hope for Ferguson. He gives you, the 4 catches for 40 yards or something like that, and I think he can do that. So I'm going to go Ferguson. But yeah, you're going to be watching until you get past those 6 points, man. You're going to be on the edge of your seat. I hate when it comes down to the stuff like that, because you feel like you can't enjoy the game, right?
Yeah.
You're just waiting for those 6 points to come. And then once you get the 6 points, you're like, okay, he can still fumble though. So I got to get out of like that fumble range of points too. So yeah, I think I go Ferguson, but it's close. That's for sure.
Yep. I agree. I'm rolling out Ferguson because, again, of the two, I think he's more likely to score. I do expect Bam to continue to have a majority of the carries, but against this Cowboys team, that I don't know what that's actually going to be, because I continue to say hot hand, and I don't know what that is when you're looking at that Arizona backfield. So, all right. Well, with that done, we'll move into. Oh, yep. You're welcome, Harry. All right, we'll move to running backs. First one up for me shouldn't be any surprise because I keep saying the name. Kareem Hunt, 49.6% rostered. We're almost there, guys. We're so close. If you can just push him over that 50, that'd be great. This past week, he was literally the option, and it really paid off for you. I could expect there to be a bigger game, but he did what you wanted him to. Was a servable piece, and his role, even when Pacheco comes back, isn't going to change. So it makes it more interesting for me to kind of continue that and look at it that way. But really, outside of that, that's the only thing that I'm really looking at as a potential must-have, must-use. So what do you think, Mike? Who do you have?
Yeah, not a whole lot of for next week type of starts, right? Like I think Kareem Hunt is definitely one of the better ones. You know, the theme of this one of my list is a little bit like trade deadline based, which luckily we will know for most leagues. I guess I don't think any leagues run the waivers before like Tuesday morning or something. So we'll trade deadline will have passed by the time the waivers run, which is great. But guys to potentially look out for Tajay Spears, who you know even if Pollard doesn't get traded, I hope Pollard does for both their sakes. But even if Pollard doesn't get traded, Spears can still give you in a PPR league like bye week replacement type of stuff. Here, he's probably going to catch 3-4 passes, probably going to get 6-7 carries, and it just kind of depends on what he does with it. But if Pollard gets traded, he's obviously a must add. He's around 45% rostered. Isaiah Davis, another one. I don't think they're going to trade Breece Hall, but he's the handcuff to Breece Hall, and if they trade Breece Hall, then he's the guy that gets promoted at least until Braylon Allen comes back. So Isaiah Davis, who also I believe, he probably is more just a handcuff, but he was getting a little bit of a run there of like, oh, you can see if you're desperate, like in his last game he had 7 carries and 5 catches. He actually had over 100 yards, which is really good. So maybe maybe he becomes a little bit. He had to be really efficient, but he's similar to Tajay Spears, I guess. Devin Singletary, not trade related, but Singletary seemed to take over that backfield just a little bit. Like he took in the fourth quarter, he played 14 of 17 snaps. I don't know if Tracy might have been dealing with an injury or something like that. I think Singletary, who we've seen, be a relevant fantasy running back, a low end RB2 at times. I think he deserves to be picked up, especially if Tracy is injured and stuff like that. I put Jerome Ford here, but the Browns, Dylan Sampson is actually who I meant to put because Jerome Ford, I've heard about trade rumors with him. And last week I heard Quinshon Judkins was dealing with an injury before they were heading into their bye week. So definitely pick up Dylan Sampson for both those reasons. And then Jarrett Patterson, what did you think of Jarrett Patterson making making an appearance for the Chargers? They gave him 9 carries. Any interest at all for Jarrett Patterson?
Not without Joe Alt. Like that's without tackles, it just become even more difficult for us to run. So I'm super not interested in anything close to being a Charger passing option or running option. It does actually, I think, help with Gadsden and Allen. They should see an uptick because they're the ones who are usually closer and they don't have to allow the play to develop. They're usually in a space that gives them opportunity. But yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. I just kind of want to avoid it. And I don't know. Vidal looked good. I wish they would just kind of continue to use him more. I mean, I get it. You want to use multiple running backs and not just wear one guy out. So, on top of all the handcuffs that we mentioned each and every week, your Devin Neals, your Blake Corums, Algiers, Ray Davis, for these maybe Emmanuel Wilson for the Packers, just handcuff your running backs, as we get as you get through your bye weeks a little bit, like start looking to do that. You need less players to start for you, and you need to protect yourself. So, those guys are always going to be on our list of guys to pick up.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just saw that one of Sal traded George Pickens for Rico Dowdle. He has Chase, Rashid, Rice, and QJ and Booty, but only had HA and JT and lost Scattaboo. I don't know. It's fine. I think that's kind of an overpay, but
Yeah, I mean, where do you think Rico Dowdle is rest of the season? I mean, from this point on, is he a top 12 guy, a top 15 guy? Like, Panthers just want to run the hell out of the ball,
Yeah. I agree, but this guy, I mean, I guess he has Rice, which helps. But outside of that, if he loses another wide receiver, he's in big trouble. I mean, QJ's going to be pretty much done without Alt now. I don't trust Shaheed as a second option. So you're really hoping Chase and Rice just continue to carry your team, which they should. But now this week you don't have Rice or Chase.
Yeah, true.
So,
but
you're starting QJ and Booty and hoping for the best. And Booty got hurt, right?
Yeah.
So go get Demario Douglas.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a like, I'm just thinking about who would I rather start from this point on. I might lean Rico Dowdle over Pickens. It's not like, it's pretty close, I would say. So it could work out if you like basically if you think of Rico as an upgrade to Pickens and none of your guys get hurt and everything goes as planned and stuff. Obviously this week you're going to be hurting, but if you have a good record and you can take a loss or whatever, like, could work out. Could work out. So interesting trade though, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving to wide receivers and bringing up names that you all should know because I keep talking about them. Jameer DK, 30.6% rostered, still widely available, still running the most routes without Ridley. Granted, kind of struggled this week, but if you get return yards and points, baby, did he save your biscuit. Scoring that touchdown on us was just nuts. He also had really tough coverage this game, so that didn't help him either.
He better, like, what's your opinion on that? Like, should your fantasy player, if they get a return touchdown, like, they should get, in my opinion, they should get that points.
Correct.
Those points, not the yards. Unless you play in a yardage league, that's fine. But like, if you score a touchdown, no matter what kind of touchdown it is, like, you should be getting points.
Yeah, the fact that they don't is just crazy to me.
Yeah, it really is. I do play in a return yardage league, and DK's, I think, like top 15 or 20 overall out of all positions in that league. It's crazy because like the Titans do a thing where they only put him back there to return, so he literally returns every single kick. Teams are scoring a lot of points on the Titans, and so he's just racking up the yards. It's crazy. So, but yeah, hopefully you got the points for that touchdown.
Yep, and then we'll move into the, I guess, potential second option for Dart and Darius Slayton, who's 26% rostered. Wan'Dale's still the one leading in targets, but Slayton continues to be out there, be the second. They're going to continue to be in situations where they have to throw. So getting away from Slayton's going to be tough. Then I'm moving on to Parker Washington, who, without Travis Hunter, had this. We known this was going to happen. He would have been on the list last week because I brought him up on Sunday's show. But without Hunter, he immediately became the wide receiver 2 on that team and showed out just fine. He actually did so much better than BTJ. BTJ might not be a thing moving forward because of Parker Washington. And if Hunter comes back and just dominates again, I would be surprised if BTJ hangs around much longer than that. Finally,
yeah, he did get injured too, BTJ, in that game. So, but he wasn't doing anything before he got injured. Anyways, I think he's playing injured, but he had like one big catch. But yeah, Parker Washington is, I mean, going to be awesome. Rest of the season potentially here. So he's probably my number 1 target.
Yep, and then wrapping it up with one of my favorite guys, might not be this week, but Cedric Tillman his window's open off IR for the Browns. I don't know what that actually means right now, So I have him lower on my list, but 13.6% rostered. Before he got hurt, he was looking great, but that was also without Gabriel. So we'll see how this change affects him as well. Very curious to see how this ends up moving forward.
Yeah. Alec Pierce is first one I'm going to talk about here. He comes up a lot. He's always feels like he's kind of a hard one to trust, but he had 13 targets last week. Now, Daniel Jones threw the ball 50 times or whatever. I think it was 50 times, but threw the ball a lot, so I don't think he's going to be getting 13 targets consistently. But Colts' schedule does get tougher. They're kind of hitting. They kind of had a little bit of an easy schedule for the most part. They played obviously the Steelers and lost. They get the Falcons, Chiefs, Texans, Jags, Seahawks, Niners. You could see a lot of potential games where Daniel Jones is going to have to throw the ball a little bit more, whether that's good or bad. But Alec Pierce, he's always a potential for a long play. You look at his long catch each game, it's 48, 50, 36 yards, 44 yards. Doesn't have a touchdown this year, which is surprising because I believe he led the Colts in touchdowns last year with 7, or he was close, but doesn't have a touchdown. So, he can always catch one of those. I really like Alec Pierce. Torrey Horton for the Seahawks, a rookie that I kind of liked. He was a 5th-round pick. Kind of worked his way to the starter and 3 wide receiver sets. Even with Cooper Kupp there, he kind of pushed MVS out the door a little bit, and literally he catches touchdowns, and he has 5 touchdowns on the year. Not a big volume guy, but if Cooper Kupp continues to be injured, Sam Darnold we talk about is playing at kind of an MVP type of level, and Torrey Horton last night's game played 72.5% of the snaps, so that was with the Kupp injury. So if Kupp is continues to be out, then Torrey Horton I think is a solid add as well.
Yeah,
and then for deeper leagues,
wait. Before you move on, the cool thing about Torrey Horton right now is it's like within every 5 touchdowns he's scoring it, or every 5 catches he's scoring a touchdown. So it's something nuts like that because he scored 5 this year already.
Yeah. 5 touchdowns, 13 catches, which is an insane percentage there, right? So, it's not. I don't know. Sometimes we get seasons like this. Like Christian Watson had a season like that, I think his rookie year, where he scored 8 touchdowns on 30 catches or something like that. Sometimes we get these. It doesn't last year to year, and usually, it's hard to rely on. But again, Darnold is playing well. If Cooper Kupp's out, I like this. And JSN we love. He's not a big touchdown guy. I mean, he has 4 this year, but he's not a huge touchdown guy. So, I like Torrey Horton. I just think he's a talented rookie as well. And then Kyle Williams. This is a pretty deeper one here, but Kayshon Boutte had a hamstring injury in the second quarter, and he didn't come back. Patriots receivers have kind of been hard to follow a little bit with Boutte and Matt Collins and Stephon Diggs. Demario Douglas rotates in there. But Williams came in. He's a rookie, by the way, 3rd-round pick. I really, really liked his tape, and I think he's a very talented player. Reminds me a little bit of a Keenan Allen type of player. But he came in and played like that X receiver, and he played 22 snaps in the second half, and that was the most among all Patriots wide receivers. So Drake May is potentially the MVP right now. After the first half of the season, he's playing ridiculously well. His deep ball accuracy was insane. He's just playing really, really well. I think I'm going to want to grab the guy who's running the most routes or playing the most snaps for one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And especially, it's a rookie. Rookies, Amon-Ra St. Brown comes to mind. He wasn't anything until the last 5-6 weeks of the season. There's always those guys who come on from this point on, and they're they win you your championship because they just go off. Is that Kyle Williams? It could be. I really like stashing him. Just seeing what happens this week for him and seeing, kind of getting ahead of it a little bit, because this could be a guy where he's available everywhere right now. He's probably not a lot of people are going to be targeting him because he didn't do anything. He had 1 target. He literally has 2 catches on the year. but he could be a guy that just has a huge game in week 10 and he's the number one waiver wire target. So if you have that extra spot to stash a guy, I want to stash a guy like Kyle Williams.
Yeah, and just because you brought it up a little bit, I'm going to also bring up Demario Douglas. Pop Douglas was the one who was been affected the most, has been cutting in more to targets for Diggs, but Kyle Williams plays the X where Booty plays. That is not what Douglas does. So just throwing it out there. More important question. I kind of want to get a ranking here because I'm curious. How do you rank who you're picking up on this list? Let's just do the top 3.
Parker Washington.
I concur.
So he's definitely number 1. DK is, and then Pierce. Like I'm thinking more for starting next week. Parker Washington, DK, and Pierce are like my 3 there, probably in that order. I mean, maybe you can switch DK and Pierce. That's fine, but definitely Parker Washington by far is number 1. Like I'd be spending a lot of my fab right now on him because I just think he's gonna get fed, with or without a BTJ injury. So, what's your top 3?
Yeah, it's going to be Parker for sure. I'm really split because I like DK, but that offense is so bad that I almost want to go Pierce and Horton. Because Horton,
they're similar players, right?
Well, and just the fact that Horton, like, I think he might have carved a rollout for himself in 3 wide receiver sets. Because even with Kupp, if Kupp comes back, like you can't not feed that man more targets just based on how efficient he is with scoring right now. I mean, he's constantly making big plays and catching big balls, and it's impressive from him and Darnold. It's quite a duo. So,
yeah. So yeah, that's for next week. I mean, if you don't need starts or anything, I just really like the idea. Maybe I'm biased because I really like Kyle Williams, but if it's more of a stash thing, I want to get him on my roster if I can, if I have a spot to sneak him on there for sure.
All right, well, we'll get out of wide receiver, move into tight ends because everybody wants to know who we're looking at. Shouldn't be any surprise. I don't know how this guy's still available. Juwan Johnson's 25.2% rostered. I get it. You were scared of Tyler Shook. Completely understand. I also was scared. But this guy continues to run the most amount of routes on the team. He's constantly out there being a player for like you specifically. He's catching the balls. He's going to be that short area target, and it's every week. It just seems like he's constantly putting up consistent numbers, and you're able to start him without ever really having to worry about it. I know he was hurt for two or 3 weeks, kind of got people off of him, but 25.2% is just egregious when it comes to his rostership percentage right now. We need to boost those numbers big. So, but yeah, I also like your first choice.
Yeah, people freaked out because they saw that he obviously Juwan Johnson started off hot, and then had a lull in the middle of the year, which is going to happen for tight ends. Like they're going to have bad games no matter who they are. I mean, for every player really, but tight ends are. Even more so. And it just so happened that Juwan Johnson's came kind of back to back to back, and then he kind of picked it back up. But his usage is there, so I like that call for sure. Yeah, Colston Loveland. I think we brought him up last week, and kind of said like, hey, like, I think did the Bears play on Monday night last week? I can't remember, but we talked about him, and we're just saying like this is a guy with Cole Kmet kind of being injured potentially. They've had their bye week. Are they going to get Loveland a little bit more involved? And they did. Now, granted, he had that one big 60-yard touchdown catch, but even without that, basically 5 for 60 and a touchdown, you would have been extremely happy if you started Loveland. So is this something here? Bears are kind of, they're kind of Bengals and Cowboys-esque of like, I don't think their defense is great. They have a good offense that can score a lot of points. They could just be in a lot of shootouts this year. They get some games where maybe there's some potential shootouts with the Vikings or the Eagles and Packers coming up. So twice, 49ers. So, and that's going to benefit Colston Loveland. So definitely looking at Colston Loveland. Dalton Schultz, I'll throw his name out there. I would obviously like, if CJ Stroud was healthy, but then again, Dalton Schultz had a good game, and I think how much did Davis Mills play? Like 75% of that game or something. So, Dalton Schultz has been actually pretty good this year, a little bit under the radar, I would say. He's not exciting at all, but he kind of if you need those safe kind of points, like Schultz can probably give that to you. He had 8 targets, 6 catches, 77 yards last week, and yeah, he's just been pretty consistent of like 3 to 5 catches each and every week, and then he has these couple spike weeks of 6 and 9 and stuff like that. So I'll throw his name out there because he's pretty widely available as well.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if CJ continues to be out, they need other targets, and Schultz just seems to be stepping up and filling that the best he can. When other wide receivers aren't. So, okay, we'll get out of tight end and moving to our streaming defenses of the week. Shouldn't be any surprise. Surprised me, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. Buffalo Bills versus Miami, 43.2% rostered. Guessing they got dropped because they were playing the Chiefs. But come on now. Gotta pick that up. Yeah. I have another one, but do you have anybody else that you want to talk about, or you just want to use my second one?
I definitely like yours. I will. There was now I've lost. I mean, if you want a team, it sounds gross, man, because they were like one of the worst defenses. But the Jets, they're playing the Browns. I believe it is home in New York. Like, you're just targeting. We can't target the Titans because they're on a bye. So like, some defenses are just so much about matchups, and I just don't think the Browns are very good. They're not this explosive offense, so you probably just get like a decent game out of them if your team's on a bye. So, and that's who you had. I didn't even realize that was your second one. So, or I guess you were the opposite. You chose the Browns. Huh?
I did because that defense is real, man. That's the one thing that they do right is that defense continues to. This is whatever the over under is for this game. Under. I don't think they can go low enough.
Unless it's like 15, then maybe going over. But
then maybe.
I don't know if it's ever got like if I've ever seen it below like I know it's gotten under 30 before, but it's usually in the high 20s is like the lowest you'll see. That's and maybe there's gonna be it's New York, so maybe there's some weather. We're getting to that point of the year where it's like start looking at weather reports because that could just like give you a good defense for a team that's generally you're not thinking about starting. So Cleveland's one of those teams. They're not playing in Cleveland, but Cleveland's also one of those teams where like it's tough to play in Cleveland in late November or December for any team. And plus they have a good defense. So yeah, I think either one in that matchup is completely fine. But not a lot of great a lot of the good matchups are good defenses and stuff like that. Where are we at with the? I think they're still 2 rostered, but like the Ravens. So do we think their defense is becoming legit again? Or?
I told you, I thought they were legit. I mean, I was the first one. I was like, they're healthy. That's what people forgot is that they were so injured. And then the first week I saw that they came back from bye and everybody was healthy. I'm like, nope, you need to start them again. Yeah. They're going to be good, and it's just been pounding after pounding. So, if we're going to just suggest teams, it's going to probably be 2 rostered. But if somebody drops them, the Texans is another one that I'm looking at. They get the Jags this week, so
there's a couple of those 60-ish% teams. I mean, Texans, Seahawks, Rams, Ravens are all in that 60% tier that might be out there for your league. Like, definitely, we go below 50%, but definitely those defenses I think are legit, good defenses, and I'll play them in most matchups. I think is what we're learning for those teams. So, but yeah, other than that, it's not that great. If you're trying to stream someone, maybe the Panthers because they're playing the Saints, that could be another one to potentially go out and target there, but. It's the Panthers. So
yeah, the one I was kind of interested in was the Buccaneers, but they play the Patriots, which I don't like. But that is a defense that's coming on, so maybe not for this week. But if you're looking to stash one, I like the Bucs coming.
Yeah,
they just are coming off a bye too, so maybe an extra week to get more tape, to be more prepared. But I still think that the Patriots end up just winning that game pretty handily. So
Yeah, Steelers is another one. I think they're also in that like 60% range, but they had a good game against the Colts, which were the best offense. So heading into this week, so yeah, and yeah, just kind of watch like, well, I guess it's only the Chiefs, right? If the Chiefs get dropped because of the bye week, pick them up. You're definitely not picking up the Bengals, Titans, or Cowboys. So, leave those teams. But if the Chiefs get dropped and you don't need a defense this week, check them out too, because there's a good chance they dip a little bit here.
Yep. All right. Well, with that, we're going to get out of here. Let you all go and enjoy this game. Hopefully, it's a good one. I've been surprised the past couple weeks, so we'll just continue to hope for surprises and hope for good games. Hope you all get what you need to win. But with that, hope everybody had a fun week 9. We're ready for week 10. For Sleeper, this is the last week that the trades go through. I think the last day is officially Monday, so keep that in mind. But remember, as always, to keep up the nonsense. We will see you all next week.